It was the summer of my 15th year, and my friend Jonathan had the house all to himself for the week. He invited me to spend the weekend with him, and the prospect of having the house to ourselves was too good to pass up. As I arrived at his place on that Friday night, I discovered that Jonathan's two younger brothers, Saeed and Ivan, were also there. It didn't bother us much, they tended to stay out of our way. Around 9:30 p.m., Saeed and Ivan proposed playing hide and seek in the dark outside. Jonathan and I agreed, grabbed flashlights, and headed to the woods behind his house. Jonathan and Ivan took off to hide, while Saeed and I started counting. After a minute, we began our search, wandering through the darkness, shining our flashlights in every direction. As we roamed deeper into the woods, we stumbled upon a small trail that diverged from our path. It struck me as odd, as I couldn't recall ever seeing it before. Curiosity got the better of us, and we followed the trail. After a short walk, we found ourselves in a small clearing, and about 30 yards away stood an eerie-looking shack. It seemed abandoned, with weathered wood and shattered windows. The steps leading to the front door were run down. Despite the ominous appearance, we thought this must be where Jonathan and Ivan had hidden. We cautiously approached the shack, but something felt off. None of us had ventured this deep into the woods before, especially not at night. Still, we pressed on, inching closer to the mysterious structure. I hopped onto the porch, causing it to emit a loud creaking noise. That's when I heard movement from inside the shack. Saeed stayed back as I cautiously approached one of the broken windows. Peeking inside, I shone my flashlight, only to be greeted by a horrifying sight, a figure hunched in the far corner. He had a scruffy beard, wide-eyed demeanor, and wore a heavy brown coat. But what chilled me to the bone was the sinister smile that crept across his face as my light fell on him. I stumbled back, horrified, and urged Saeed to run. We sprinted back along the trail, in the direction of Jonathan's house. Panic set in as we heard branches being crushed behind us and heavy footsteps closing in. The fear intensified until we reached the safety of Jonathan's house, panting and desperate to convey the terror we had encountered. Upon explaining the situation to Jonathan and Ivan, they were skeptical. However, our fear was justified when we heard the unmistakable sound of someone or something following us. We decided to lock ourselves in, still shaken by the encounter in the woods. To distract ourselves, we turned on a movie. As the clock approached 12:20 a.m., the movie came to an end, and we noticed a light on the back porch turning on. From where we sat, we had a clear view of the back porch, and the motion-activated lights revealed a chilling sight, a large figure hopping over the fence. Jonathan and I cautiously approached the back porch screen door, pulling the curtains aside. Our hearts skipped a beat as we saw a looming figure in the yard. Fear surged through me, thinking it might be the same man from the shack. We debated on our course of action, ultimately deciding that if it was indeed the same person, we had to call the police. Within moments, 2 officers arrived at Jonathan's house. We explained the entire situation, recounting the shack in the woods and the mysterious man now in the backyard. A separate unit was dispatched, with 2 officers heading into the woods to investigate. One officer stayed with us, and the tension in the room was palpable. After what felt like an eternity, the 2 officers returned. They confirmed the existence of the shack but found no sign of the man. Instead, they discovered evidence of someone using it as temporary shelter, a sleeping bag, a candle, and a hunting knife. The officer reassured us that the man was likely a harmless meth addict seeking refuge. To this day, I wonder what the man's intentions were when he entered the backyard. What would have transpired if we had all gone to sleep, oblivious to the porch light turning on? The mystery of that summer night lingers in my mind, a chilling reminder that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places. In the heart of the Norwegian wilderness, our family cabin stood, a sanctuary nestled deep within the woods. Winter transformed the landscape into a serene, snow-laden wonderland, but it also brought its own set of challenges. The bitter cold seized the pipes, rendering them useless and leaving us without running water. Our solution was simple yet traditional. We retrieved drinking water from a layer by the lake and melted snow for our washing and cleaning needs. One winter, as the biting cold tightened its grip, a peculiar incident unfolded that left an indelible mark on our family's memory. It all began with my father, a sturdy figure with years of cabin life etched into his being. He ventured outside, clad in layers to shield against the frosty air, on a mission to fill a tin can with fresh snow. The tin, a faithful companion in our winter rituals, had lost its lid the previous year. Unfazed, he crouched down by the side of the cabin, removed the lid, and began filling the can with the pristine snow that blanketed the surroundings. As he turned around to seal the tin once more, a puzzling realization dawned upon him: the lid was nowhere to be found. The darkness of the winter night obscured any chances of spotting it, and with a nonchalant shrug, he decided it must have slid or blown away. Dismissing the incident, he returned indoors, leaving the lidless tin can as a testament to the whims of nature. The following day, under the pale light of day, we ventured outside in search of the elusive lid. A thorough exploration ensued, with each family member combing the snowy landscape, but our efforts proved futile. The lid seemed to have vanished without a trace, and eventually, the urgency to find it waned as life in the cabin continued. Time flowed like the icy waters of the lake, and winter beckoned us once again to our family haven. The familiar routine resumed, with the same tin can serving as our vessel for collecting the essential snow. Curiously, the lid remained absent, a detail we had all but forgotten. Little did we know, the enigma surrounding that tin can was far from over. On one chilly day, as frost clung to every surface, my father ventured outside to procure the lifeblood of our winter existence. He filled the tin can with snow, the cold air biting at his exposed skin. As he turned to complete the ritual and seal the tin, a strange sound interrupted the quiet hum of the winter wind. Perplexed, he took a step back, and there it was, the missing lid, resting nonchalantly on the fresh layer of snow, exactly where he had placed it a year ago. A shiver of disbelief ran down his spine, rendering him as pale as the snow that surrounded him. The tin can, now complete with its long-lost lid, stood as a silent witness to an inexplicable occurrence. Bewilderment gripped our family as the news of this uncanny event unfolded. The cabin, surrounded by the ancient Norwegian woods, became a realm of speculation and wonder. Discussions echoed through its rustic walls as we tried to unravel the mystery. How could the lid reappear a year later, at the precise spot where it had vanished? Theories floated among us, from mischievous woodland creatures to supernatural forces at play. As the winter days unfolded, the cabin seemed to hold its secrets close, leaving us to ponder the unexplainable. Did the woods possess a mystique that defied our understanding, or was it a mere twist of fate playing tricks on our perception? The atmosphere within the cabin took on a different hue, with a sense of curiosity and reverence for the unknown settling among us. The tale of the tin can and its elusive lid became a part of our family lore, a story to be recounted by the crackling fireplace during the long winter nights. The Norwegian woods, with their silent whispers and ancient presence, held the key to a mystery that eluded rational explanation. And so, in that remote cabin, surrounded by nature's quiet symphony, we embraced the inexplicable and found solace in the enchantment of our winter haven. As a child, I found myself drawn to my grandma's cabin in Big Bear Lake, a haven nestled at the edge of a vast, mostly unpopulated forest. Little did I know that this place would become the stage for the most memorable and unsettling event of my childhood. The cabin, perched at the end of a cul-de-sac, exuded an air of quiet mystery. Since I was around 10 or 11, I had been a regular visitor, making the journey several times a year. Each visit, however, was accompanied by an undeniable feeling of being watched. It didn't matter whether I was alone in the cabin during the day or night, a pervasive sensation lingered, haunting the rooms. The strange occurrences were not confined to mere feelings. Shadow creatures lurked in the corners, and whispers echoed through the walls. I had even experienced peculiar knocking sounds. My grandma shared her own encounters, warning me that if I ever felt uneasy in the nearby forest, I should head home immediately. Despite the unsettling ambience, the allure of the cabin and its surroundings kept pulling me back. One day, my dad, uncle, and I embarked on a familiar trail we had treaded countless times before. The path led to a peak where we would often pause to admire the breathtaking view. However, this routine hike would soon evolve into an extraordinary and disconcerting adventure. When we reached the customary lookout point, my dad and uncle, fueled by their adventurous spirits, opted to continue the hike. I, on the other hand, decided to head back to the cabin alone. It was only a short distance away, a mere 5 to 10 minutes. As I descended the well-trodden path, I initially paid little attention to my surroundings. But then, a subtle realization crept in: something was amiss. The familiar path seemed to stretch endlessly, distorting its usual length. The air was eerily silent, devoid of the usual forest symphony. Not even a squirrel rustled in the trees. As I continued, morbid thoughts invaded my mind. Fear clung to me like a shadow, whispering that I might be lost forever or that some unseen creature would snatch me away. Checking my watch every few minutes only intensified the panic. The path, winding downhill, seemed to go on forever as the sun rapidly set, casting long shadows that played tricks on my senses. Eventually, I stumbled upon a section of the trail that I recognized, only to find myself in an entirely unfamiliar area moments later. The disorientation persisted as the path wound and wound, and my sense of time became distorted. The setting sun heightened my anxiety, making it clear that I had been walking in the direction of the cabin for more than an hour. When I finally reached the street, relief washed over me. Yet, confusion lingered. I expected my father and uncle to have returned by now, and for my parents to express concern about my prolonged absence. Instead, my mother questioned why I had returned so soon. When I asked my dad about their time on the trail, he casually mentioned they had only walked an additional 15 minutes after I left. The incongruity of time and space left me perplexed. Was it a mere trick of perception, or had I stumbled upon something otherworldly? The cabin, with its history of strange occurrences, seemed to hold secrets that defied explanation. As I reflected on that surreal ordeal, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Perhaps my younger self had a different perception, but the unease persisted. The cabin and its surroundings, shrouded in mystery, had woven an indelible tapestry of strange events, leaving me to grapple with questions that remained unanswered. In the years that followed, I continued to visit the cabin, each time hoping for clarity or closure. Yet, the inexplicable occurrences persisted, and the sense of being watched never truly dissipated. The forest, with its silent whispers and elusive shadows, seemed to guard its secrets, leaving me to wonder if some mysteries are better left unsolved. In the summer of 2013, my life took a dramatic turn as I navigated the challenging waters of a divorce and the subsequent need to move out of my suburban Southern California home. Fate, it seemed, had other plans for me, as I swiftly met my current husband not long after the divorce. Things moved at an unexpected pace. He asked me to move in with him, and I agreed. He had recently acquired his dream cabin in a local mountain range, thanks to an inheritance. This picturesque setting, nestled in the woods, was a popular tourist destination, but little did I know that this seemingly idyllic escape would soon become a source of profound turmoil. As we transitioned to our new life that winter, the cabin, despite its beauty, exuded an eerie aura. It was a larger chalet-style home with dark wooden beams, brick walls, and an imposing wood-burning stove. Shortly after settling in, we learned that the previous owner had been a victim of a drunk driving incident, compelling her to relocate to a care facility for the severely impaired. The knowledge of this dark history cast a shadow over our newfound home. The town and its inhabitants, particularly our handful of neighbors, revealed themselves to be an eccentric bunch, fueled by paranoia and mystery. Negative energy permeated certain parts of the mountain, and though I sensed it, I initially kept my reservations to myself. Love, it seemed, had blinded me to the ominous signs. The first inkling of something amiss occurred about a week after our move. Eager to explore the wilderness behind our home, we embarked on a hike towards early evening. As we delved deeper, we stumbled upon abandoned ranches and log cabins, some with eerie remnants of witchcraft. The air thickened, and an electric charge permeated the atmosphere, inducing an inexplicable fear. Dismissing it as nerves, we continued until my husband realized we had lost the trail. Panic set in as we realized the sun was setting, and disorientation took hold. After what felt like an eternity, we stumbled upon a trail leading us back home. Little did I know, that day marked the beginning of a profound connection between myself and something darker than the shadows in the woods. Soon after, an oppressive force descended upon me. Out of character, I found solace in binge drinking and engaging in senseless conflicts. Episodes of lost time became routine, would wander into the forest for hours during fights, unaware of my actions. I felt detached, as if an unseen force toyed with my sanity. Despite the chaos at home, I managed to secure a job at a local church camp, where, paradoxically, I felt a semblance of normalcy. It was as if a battle between good and evil raged within me. Amidst the turmoil, a mysterious illness plagued me, baffling doctors. Hospitalizations and heavy narcotics further fueled my descent into darkness. Even our luck seemed tainted. Car troubles in remote areas and unexplained malfunctions became routine. The mountain held an uncanny ability to thwart us just before impending disaster, signaled by the hair on my body standing on end and an eerie electric charge in the air. Strange occurrences extended into our home. Electrical surges and unexplained phenomena became routine. Lights and ceiling fans would turn on autonomously, and I often felt an oppressive presence, especially while sleeping. The climax arrived when a nightmare felt all too real. A black demon with red eyes and a goat-like head emerged from the attic door, watching me as I slept. Terrifyingly, I awoke to find the door open, though it had always been notoriously difficult to budge. Sleep became a battleground, marked by demonic dreams and a constant feeling of being watched. The entity reveled in tormenting me, manipulating lights and electronics to coincide with my moments of vulnerability. It felt like a malevolent force, one that transcended the physical realm. Work life mirrored the chaos at home, as I struggled to maintain stability. Heavy counseling, pill popping, and a crumbling relationship became my norm. I found myself in a downward spiral, a regular at bars and liquor stores. Evil thoughts crept in, and one night, in a fit of rage, I lashed out at my husband, a violent episode that left him shaken, claiming I resembled someone dark and malevolent. Seeking answers, I turned to a friend with abilities, who urged me to leave the malevolent land. She shared stories of a friend who fled under similar circumstances, emphasizing the evil that lurked in the mountains. Terrified, I begged my husband to leave, and with determination, he began job hunting in a different town, listing our cabin for sale. The relief was gradual as we descended from the mountain. Within a month of leaving, I felt a return to normalcy. Demonic dreams persisted, but a Reiki master's cleansing brought a sense of peace. The desire to drink vanished, and my personality gradually shifted back to its happy, loving self. Our home sold quickly, and we received an unexpected call from the buyers, inquiring about demonic activity. We chose not to divulge our experiences, as the evil that plagued us wasn't confined to the house but ingrained in the land itself. The nightmare was over, but its scars lingered, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can infiltrate even the most picturesque landscapes. My family and I embarked on an unforgettable trip to a secluded cabin in the heart of Idaho's wilderness. The rustic abode, a former fire watchman's station, nestled amidst nature's embrace, offered an escape from the urban grind. Little did we know that our retreat would evolve into a series of bizarre and chilling encounters that would forever etch the memory in our minds. As we unpacked and settled into the cabin, the allure of the nearby river beckoned us for a leisurely stroll. The pebbled shore seemed idyllic for skipping rocks until the realization struck: a myriad of 1-foot-long snakes slithered beneath our unsuspecting feet. With a mix of panic and urgency, we hastily retreated, discovering later that we had unwittingly wandered into a nest of diamondback rattlesnakes. The potential danger to our 3 young children loomed large, given our remote location, hours away from any medical facility. Returning to the cabin, my mother and I decided to venture out for a hike while my wife tended to our shaken kids. The wilderness unfolded around us, serene yet concealing the unseen. Upon our return just 15 minutes later, we found our family huddled inside, doors and windows tightly shut. Their frantic accounts unveiled a new threat: a bear, merely 150 yards away, observed our domestic scene from the riverfront. Strangely, it wasn't the only disturbance that day. In the midst of this peculiar day, an ATV manned by 2 unsettling figures made repeated passes by the cabin. Each time, they halted at the property gate, fixating their gaze on our isolated sanctuary. It was a stark reminder of our solitude in the vastness of Idaho's wilderness, with these enigmatic visitors being the only sign of humanity. As evening descended, we decided it was bedtime for the children. The tranquil wilderness transformed into an inky blackness within moments. However, tranquility soon gave way to terror as our youngest, a 5-year-old, succumbed to an inexplicable fever, foaming at the mouth, and falling into a state of unresponsiveness. With no medical assistance nearby, panic set in, propelling us to an immediate decision: leave and seek help. Frantically, I loaded our belongings into the cars under the porch light. Simultaneously, an eerie symphony unfolded outside. Large and heavy animals circled the cabin and property. Armed with a stick and a pot, I ventured outside, striking the ground and yelling in an attempt to ward off whatever lurked in the shadows. The unnerving pacing and heavy breathing on the right side of the cabin fueled my anxiety. Each trip to the cars demanded caution, and I insisted everyone stay inside, slamming the door shut with each entry. The tension reached its zenith when, as I closed the gate, a chilling encounter unfolded. A large, unseen presence, accompanied by shimmering eyes and a deep growl, materialized less than 10 feet away. Panic set in, and I sprinted to the car, slamming into the driver's seat with a speed fueled by sheer terror. The gate offered no barrier, only a primitive log sliding between 2 posts. As we sped away, leaving the unnerving wilderness behind, a lingering sense of dread persisted. Strangely, my unresponsive son began to softly cry, regaining consciousness and displaying confusion about our abrupt departure. His memory of the preceding hour had vanished, leaving us grappling with the inexplicable nature of the events. In the aftermath, my mother, a devout Jehovah's Witness, experienced a breakdown, haunted by a nightmare she had the night before our departure. In her dream, we encountered snakes, a bear, and a pack of wolves in the very outpost where our ordeal unfolded. She confessed to an overwhelming sense of evil and foreboding, convinced that her dream held a prophetic warning. The details of the dream weighed heavily on her, especially the part where one of the children met a tragic fate. A week later, local news reports confirmed the presence of a wolf pack in the same area we had fled. The revelation added a chilling layer of confirmation to the strange occurrences. Wolves and bears coexisting in the wilderness might be unusual, but the convergence of these events painted a surreal picture of the wild landscapes we had unwittingly entered. Despite growing up in the mountains and having a half-sleeve tattoo commemorating my love for the wilderness, the experience left an indelible mark. The inexplicable encounters and the palpable sense of impending doom severed our connection with the mountains, forever altering our perception of the untamed beauty that once beckoned us. This inexplicable chapter in our lives serves as a testament to the unfathomable mysteries that nature can conceal. The convergence of snakes, a bear, a mysterious pack of animals, and a prophetic dream created a tapestry of fear and uncertainty that, to this day, lingers in the recesses of our collective memory.